Cassava, also known as manioc or yucca, might look like an ordinary brown root pulled from the ground, but behind its humble appearance lies a crop that feeds over 800 million people worldwide. From crispy tapioca chips to chewy boba pearls, and from bread flour to biofuel, cassava starch is everywhere in our daily lives. Each year, millions of tons of cassava roots are harvested and transformed into fine, white starch that becomes the foundation of countless foods and industrial products. But have you ever wondered how this incredible process actually works? Today, we're taking you on a journey to the supergiant cassava farms and starch factories, where fields stretch as far as the eye can see, and powerful machines work together with farmers' hands to turn rough, muddy roots into pure starch in a mind-blowing way. Before we dive in, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another behind-the-scenes look at how the world's essential foods are grown and made. Farmers don't plant cassava from seeds. Instead, they use stem cuttings. Pieces of the cassava stalk, about 20 to 30 centimeters long, are cut and placed directly into the soil. Within days, the cuttings sprout new roots and leaves. Over 8 to 12 months, these roots grow thick and starchy underground, while the plant above grows tall and leafy. One of the reasons cassava is so important to global food security is its ability to survive droughts and poor soil conditions. Even when other crops fail, cassava keeps growing, storing energy in its roots until harvest time. By the time the plants are ready, fields look like lush green forests. Beneath the soil, the roots, each weighing 2 to 5 pounds, are waiting to be unearthed. Large farms can hold millions of cassava plants across thousands of acres, representing millions of tons of potential starch. Harvesting cassava is a challenge because the roots are buried deep underground and must be collected carefully to avoid breaking. On small farms, farmers use machetes and hoes to dig up each root by hand. On supergiant farms, however, specialized harvesting machines do the heavy lifting. These machines move slowly across the rows, slicing into the soil, loosening the roots, and lifting entire cassava plants out of the ground. Workers then shake off the soil and cut off the thick roots, which are immediately loaded into baskets, carts, or directly onto trucks. A single machine can harvest several acres in just one day, collecting tens of thousands of pounds of cassava. During peak season, giant farms may harvest hundreds of tons every 24 hours. But cassava roots are extremely perishable. Once harvested, they begin to spoil within 48 hours. That means speed is everything. Trucks line up at the edge of the fields, carrying the freshly harvested roots directly to processing factories. It's a breathtaking sight. Long convoys of trucks loaded high with brown, muddy roots rumbling toward massive plants, ready to begin the transformation into starch. When the cassava roots arrive at the factory, the first step is to wash away the soil. Giant drum washers or water channels tumble the roots, scrubbing off dirt, stones, and debris. Within minutes, tons of muddy roots turn into clean, pale tubers. Next comes peeling. Traditionally, cassava is peeled by hand, but at industrial scale, powerful mechanical peelers strip off the thick brown skin. Removing the peel is essential because it contains natural toxins like cyanogenic compounds that must be eliminated for safe consumption. After peeling, the roots are chopped into smaller pieces, making them easier to handle in the next stage. Workers and machines work side by side, ensuring only high-quality, healthy roots continue down the line. By now, the cassava no longer looks like rough farm produce. It looks like raw material, ready to be turned into one of the world's most versatile ingredients, starch. This is where the real magic happens. First, The peeled cassava roots are crushed and grated into a fine pulp. Imagine rivers of white, milky slurry flowing through stainless steel channels. This pulp contains starch, fibers, and water all mixed together. The pulp is then pushed through a series of sieves and centrifuges. These high-speed machines separate the fine starch granules from the fibrous residue. What emerges is a liquid called starch milk, a smooth suspension of starch in water. But the process isn't over. The starch milk flows into giant settling tanks or hydrocyclones, where it is further purified. Impurities and fibers are removed, leaving only the pure, glistening white starch. This starch is then dewatered and dried. Powerful filters and dryers remove excess moisture, transforming the slurry into a soft, powdery starch. Conveyor belts carry the drying starch to packaging areas, where it is packed into 25 or 50 kilogram bags, or even bulk containers holding several tons each. By the end of the process, muddy brown roots from the field have been turned into a snow-white powder, cassava starch, ready to enter global markets. Cassava starch is one of the most versatile products in the world. Every year, millions of tons of cassava starch enter supply chains around the world, feeding both people and industries. One of the most fascinating things about cassava starch production is that nothing goes to waste. The fibrous pulp left after starch extraction is used as animal feed. Cassava peels are composted or turned into organic fertilizer. Even the wastewater from factories can be treated and reused for irrigation. This makes cassava starch one of the most sustainable agro-industrial processes. It supports farmers, provides food security, and contributes to renewable industries, all while minimizing waste. Once packed, cassava starch travels across the world. From processing plants in Thailand, Nigeria, or Brazil, containers filled with cassava starch are shipped to the United States, Europe, and Asia. There, they enter bakeries, bubble tea shops, textile factories, and even green energy companies. The journey of cassava, from root to starch to final product, is a global story of connection between farmers, factories, and consumers. Every grain of starch represents the hard work of farmers, the precision of engineers, and the demand of millions of people who rely on this crop every single day. If you enjoyed this journey into the amazing world of cassava, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Your support helps us bring more fascinating documentaries about how the world's most essential crops are harvested and processed. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring. Every year, across the tropics, millions upon millions of coconuts are harvested, processed, and transformed into products that end up in homes, restaurants, and supermarkets around the world. This story takes us from the swaying palms of tropical coastlines to bustling processing plants, and finally to the dinner tables and beauty shelves of people everywhere. Before we dive into the fascinating journey of how millions of tons of coconuts are harvested and processed, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Your support helps us bring more incredible stories like this one to life. Now, let's begin. To truly understand how millions of tons of coconuts are harvested and processed, we first need to look at the tree itself. The coconut palm is sometimes called the tree of life, and for good reason. It thrives in hot, humid coastal climates where many other crops would struggle. From India and Indonesia to the Philippines, Sri Lanka, Thailand, and Vietnam, vast plantations of coconut palms stretch along beaches, hillsides, and islands. Even in places like Hawaii, southern Florida, and parts of Africa and the Caribbean, the coconut palm grows tall and resilient, capable of producing fruit year after year. Each mature tree can bear between 30 and 60 coconuts annually, and with millions of trees spread across dozens of countries, the global harvest adds up quickly. In fact, more than 60 million metric tons of coconuts are produced every year worldwide, making it one of the most significant tropical crops on Earth. Harvesting coconuts, however, is far from easy. Unlike fruits that grow on low shrubs or manageable trees, coconuts grow at the very top of towering palms, sometimes 30 meters high. Traditionally, farmers scale these trees with nothing more than a rope tied around their feet or waist, gripping the trunk with incredible agility and strength. In places like Kerala in India or Quezon Province in the Philippines, generations of farmers have mastered this dangerous skill, climbing trees daily to cut down ripe coconuts with a sharp blade. The sight is both impressive and humbling. A man balanced against the sky, swinging his machete to release clusters of coconuts that thud heavily to the ground. In other regions, especially where farms are larger and labor is scarce, long poles with knives attached at the end are used to cut coconuts from below. Increasingly, modern plantations are experimenting with mechanical lifters, drones, and even trained animals like monkeys in Thailand, though this practice has drawn controversy and is being phased out in many places. Once harvested, coconuts are collected in piles at the base of the trees. The green, young coconuts destined for drinking water are often kept separate from the mature, brown coconuts that will be processed for oil, copra, and other products. Farmers load them into baskets, sacks, or directly onto carts. In rural areas, this transport may be done by oxen or buffalo pulling wooden wagons. In coastal regions, small boats ferry coconuts from island plantations to mainland markets. In more industrialized settings, trucks haul massive loads to central collection points or directly to processing plants. The sheer volume is staggering. Hundreds of thousands of coconuts can move through a single port or processing hub in a week, creating a rhythm of supply that powers entire economies. The first step of processing begins with dehusking, the removal of the thick, fibrous husk that surrounds the hard shell of the coconut. Traditionally, this is done by impaling the coconut on a sharp metal spike fixed into the ground, then twisting it forcefully until the husk peels away. Skilled workers can husk hundreds of coconuts in a day using this simple but effective method. In factories, machines now automate this process, feeding coconuts through rollers and blades that strip the husk in seconds. The husk itself is not wasted. It contains valuable coir fibers that are later processed into ropes, mats, brushes, mattresses, and even eco-friendly planting materials used in horticulture. This is one of the secrets of the coconut industry. Almost every part of the fruit, from husk to shell to flesh, has a use. After dehusking comes cracking, where the hard brown shell is split open to reveal the white flesh inside. In smaller farms, this may be done by hand with a heavy knife or mallet. In larger plants, automated cracking machines use pressure and precision to split thousands of coconuts per hour. When the shell is opened, two valuable products emerge: coconut water and coconut meat. Young coconuts, harvested while still green, are prized for their refreshing water, which has become a billion-dollar health drink industry in recent years. But for processing purposes, mature coconuts are usually the target, as their thicker, oil-rich flesh provides the basis for numerous products. The white flesh of the coconut, also called the kernel or copra when dried, is the centerpiece of the processing industry. To produce copra, the flesh is cut out of the shell, shredded or sliced, and then dried, either in the sun, in smokehouses, or in industrial kilns. This drying process reduces moisture content, preventing spoilage and preparing the material for pressing. Once dry, the copra is pressed to extract coconut oil, which has countless applications. Coconut oil is used in cooking, baking, frying, and as a dairy alternative. It is also a major ingredient in soaps, shampoos, lotions, and cosmetics, praised for its moisturizing and antibacterial properties. Industrially, coconut oil even finds its way into biodiesel and lubricants. Every ton of copra can yield hundreds of liters of valuable oil, making this a cornerstone of the global coconut trade. Meanwhile, not all coconut flesh is destined to become copra. Some is shredded fresh and dried to produce desiccated coconut, the flaky ingredient used in baking, confectionery, and cereals. Other portions are processed into coconut milk and cream, staples of Southeast Asian and Caribbean cooking, where rich, creamy curries and desserts owe their flavor to this unique fruit. Increasingly, companies are also producing coconut flour, a gluten-free alternative made from dried and ground coconut meat, popular in health food markets. The versatility of the flesh alone demonstrates why coconuts are treasured worldwide. The processing chain does not stop there. Coconut shells, once discarded, have become valuable resources in their own right. Burned under controlled conditions, they produce activated carbon, which is widely used in water purification systems, air filters, and even medical treatments to absorb toxins. The shells are also carved into handicrafts, bowls, jewelry, and decorative items, turning what was once waste into art and livelihood. In rural communities, coconut shells often serve as fuel for cooking fires, a reminder of how nothing goes unused in the coconut's life cycle. Coconut water, extracted either from young green coconuts or recovered during processing, has exploded in global popularity. Marketed as a natural sports drink, rich in electrolytes and low in calories, it has become a multi-billion-dollar export product. Major beverage companies now bottle, pasteurize, and ship coconut water worldwide, from New York to London to Tokyo, giving consumers a taste of the tropics in every sip. This new demand has transformed how coconuts are valued, with young drinking coconuts fetching higher prices in many markets than mature ones used for copra. Yet challenges also exist. Coconut trees take years to mature, and many plantations around the world are aging, with declining yields. And that's the incredible journey of how millions of tons of coconuts are harvested and processed every year. If you enjoyed learning about the hidden stories behind the foods and products we use every day, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. We have many more fascinating documentaries coming your way, and we'd love for you to join us on the next adventure. Thank you for watching. Every year, over 6 million acres of peanuts are harvested in the United States alone. That's enough to produce more than 1.6 billion pounds of peanut butter, enough to fill over 500 Olympic-sized swimming pools. And America eats it all. More than 90% of US households have at least one jar of peanut butter in their kitchen right now. But how exactly do we turn this humble underground legume into the creamy, golden spread that fuels breakfasts, sandwiches, and desserts around the world? Today, we're going deep into the massive industrial process behind your favorite snack. This is how millions of tons of peanuts are harvested to make delicious peanut butter. Peanuts aren't actually nuts, they're legumes. And unlike tree nuts, peanuts grow underground. It all starts on sprawling farms in the southern United States, places like Georgia, Alabama, and Texas, where the climate is warm, the soil is sandy, and the sun is relentless. Farmers begin planting peanuts in late spring. Seeds are sown about 2 inches deep in rows stretching across hundreds of acres. Each seed will grow into a small bush, no more than 18 inches tall. As the plant matures, it develops yellow flowers that self-pollinate and drop toward the soil. These pegs, long stems that grow downward, dig into the earth and form peanut pods. It takes about 140 to 160 days from planting to harvest. During this time, the fields are carefully managed, irrigated, weeded, and sometimes treated against pests like nematodes and aphids. By early fall, the peanut pods underground are fully mature, each containing 2 to 3 kernels that will soon become peanut butter. Harvest season begins in September and lasts until early November. And it's a race against the weather. Too much rain and the crop can rot underground. The first step is digging. Giant machines called peanut diggers or inverters roll through the fields. These specialized harvesters loosen the soil, pull up the plants, and flip them over to expose the peanuts to the sun.